trying to get set up here. This might just be as good as it gets. YouTube, what's the deal? It's your girl Jahira, and I am exhausted and back. I decided to make this a live video because my camera phone limits me on how many minutes I can record. And I didn't know how long this was going to take. So I am coming to you seeking your help, seeking action, seeking justice on behalf of a young woman in my community and also a friend, a dear friend, dare I say. Y'all, I am so tired, but let me jump into this. Actually, let me give you some backstory. If you follow me on Twitter, you will know what I'm referring to and who I'm referring to, because I have been talking about it all day. No. No one has died. Me crazy. But yeah, like I said, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll understand who I'm talking about and who I'm referring to. I have not slept at all. At all. I'm now pushing 24 hours of being awake. And so allow me to give you a little bit of backstory as to why this matters and why I'm doing it. I believe that advocacy takes a myriad of forms, and all of these forms are necessary. I am not somebody who, well, really just the way that my advocacy is set up, I am not a proponent of preaching to the choir. I don't necessarily address the LGBT community when I speak of LGBT issues, because I operate under the assumption that my people know what it is that we're talking about. The way that the inception of this channel was rooted in the idea, excuse me, y'all, that that I would be able to reach cisgender heterosexual people and allow them to see an example of who someone like myself is. Someone who does work on behalf of the trans community, somebody who does work on behalf of the intersex community, because I occupy both of those identities. And so I wanted to give people an example of what that looked like and who that was, so that someone who had never met a trans person, someone who had never met an intersex person could finally say, oh, but I kind of know her. I mean, not personally, but she's opened this window into her life and I'm able to bear witness to it and engage with her. And so the perception around trans people might be able to change for someone who hadn't been exposed to that before. At the heart of everything, the trans community is still my community. That's my home. That's my cornerstone. And so when a member of my community is adversely affected, I feel compelled and even obligated to speak up. And it's compounded even further by the fact that this is not just some abstract person off in the atmosphere somewhere. This is someone I know and have known for a number of years. So with that said, and I appreciate y'all for being here. Let me just say that at first. Hi, y'all. Hello. Yes, show live chat messages. Hi, Roxy. Oh, hi, Roxy. The person I am referring to is a woman by the name of Eyricka King. Eyricka is a relatively young, black, vibrant, brilliant, exuberant, life of the party, young woman of trans experience. And Eyricka is currently incarcerated. It should be stated for the record, not that this necessarily matters, but for the sake of illumination, Eyricka is serving a prison sentence as a non-violent offender. What she went to jail for, not violent. And again, not that that should matter, but it does. It's worth saying. Anyway, she is serving her prison sentence, and an incident unfolded which has caused me and the community that I stand for and stand with to desire to take action. Eyricka was propositioned for sex while in prison by one of her fellow inmates. Eyricka exercised the shred of agency and shred of autonomy left to her and declined said offer of sex. Upon doing so, she requested to be moved elsewhere within the confines of the prison, because this was her bunkmate, roommate kind of situation. She wanted to leave as to avoid the possibility of sexual assault or further harassment, because when she did refuse him, evidently he spit on her. So in order to extricate herself from that situation, she requested to be moved and was moved. Upon being moved, the aforementioned roommate, along with some other inmates, approached her and threatened her with bodily harm. Eyricka then went to my knowledge, one of the supervising authorities or guards or what have you, and again requested, to be removed from the environment altogether. This apparently was a huge inconvenience to this supervising officer, and to kind of give you the Cliff's Notes version of this story, this officer expressed that he didn't have time for this. She was grabbed. She was forcibly, essentially yoked up, handcuffed, and thrown bodily into a cement wall face first. Face first. At which point she was taken. I'm a little, convoluted as to the exact ramifications of the story. However, I will be posting under this video a change.org petition in which the letter that Eyricka was able to send from prison made its way out. But needless to say, she was handled, physically as though there was a struggle involved, of which there was none. Eyricka was left crying and begging the guards to discontinue the beating of her, at which point she was denied medical treatment, stripped naked, thrown in solitary for approximately 30 days. She had no access to medical care. She had no access to a phone, and she was denied food in this time period. Eyricka left the facility, the Franklin County facility where she had been housed recently, to go downstate New York for a court appearance, only for a court appearance. It was at that time that she was able to essentially smuggle a letter out of prison, because she had been attempting to write letters to her loved ones asking them for her help, and they would be returned to her ripped up. A whole lot has transpired today in the wake of that letter finally getting out, and her mother, Kelly Harrison, posting this letter as well as a video, which, in the context of the microcosm, which is our community, went viral. So in the wake of all this happening, we have had tweets and retweets from folks such as Janet Mock, Laverne Cox, Trace Lissette of Transparent, Selenis Leva of Orange is the New Black, and all of us have been working together to get this information out there. As a result of which, Eyricka today, finally today, was able to see a doctor about the injuries that she had sustained. Eyricka's... Jesus. Eyricka was thrown into a cement wall by prison guards with such force that her right breast implant has ruptured. Ruptured. The sheer velocity with which she was thrown, with which a handcuffed woman was thrown face first into a cement wall, resulted in her breast implant rupturing. There is a whole separate video, there is a whole separate conversation that needs to be had regarding this ideology that dictates that the segregation of sexes and or genders in the prison system boils down to a question of genitalia. I find it egregious and reprehensible that a woman could have the face of, you know, frickin' Janet Jackson and the body of J-Lo, but as it boils down to a question of genitals, that is the deciding factor as to which prison you go to. And so you're surrounded by men who may never have access to a feminine presenting woman for the remainder of their lives. And you're surrounded by that kind of feral energy. Again, it's a separate video for a separate time, but I really just had to get that out there. The issue right now is getting Eyricka moved from that prison complex. Removed and moved. At this point, there is a GoFundMe set up, but right and I appreciate Shauna Brooks for posting it. And you can certainly look up Shauna Brooks on the GoFundMe page should you feel compelled to donate. My personal soapbox right now is that the immediate issue is Eyrickas safety and ensuring Eyrickas safety. And in order to ensure that, she needs to be moved. Point blank, period. I am not demanding her release. She's not demanding her release right now. She just wants to serve her time in an environment that's going to afford her the modicum of safety that should be present for every inmate. Nobody goes to jail with the expectation that they could be raped. Nobody goes to jail with the expectation that they could be murdered. And Eyricka expressed in her letter a very real and very sound fear that she would be killed and it would be made to look like a suicide, because again, this is not the story of the trans woman who was beaten by inmates. This is the story of the woman who was beaten by guards. An unprovoked assault on a black trans woman's body in the context of the prison system, which does next to nothing to affirm the lives and the livelihood of trans women of color. That's what we're dealing with right now. And so I am bringing this to my YouTube because, yes, they do. Yes, they absolutely do. Me crazy. I just want to read that out loud in case anybody doesn't see that. They love trying to downplay the abuse of trans women. You are absolutely right. So, with that said, I am here making this video because I am not the exception, I am the rule. I am not a free woman because I have always followed the letter of the law. It is dumb luck that has me on this side of the bars. And so I'm here because it could easily have been me, and still easily can be me. And I would hope that somebody would be willing to do for me what I am willing and humbled and honored and obligated to do for this lady. Roxy, I'm trying to read what you wrote. Yeah. Yes. What you saw Sophia Bursett go through on Orange is the New Black is what is actually, factually taking place in this instance. If you are familiar with trans issues in media, and you saw what happened with the Cece McDonald story and her time in prison, this is everything that we prayed would not happen to Cece McDonald that is actually at this moment happening to Eyricka King. Eyricka King, as of now, is being housed in a protective custody unit, but she is still, for all intents and purposes, living in solitary confinement. She is on 23-hour-a-day lockdown. She is given 1 hour to go outside, to stretch, to make a phone call, etc. But she's in her cell 23 hours a day. And I am certain, because I have the luxury of enjoying incredibly intelligent subtastics, the scientifically documented studies of the psychological effects of solitary confinement on a person for any amount of time, it is, to say the least, damaging, and to say the most, oftentimes irrevocable. So again, this is not about freeing somebody who, I would love to see her freed, but the immediate issue is getting her moved to a place where she will be affirmed as a human being and afforded the level of safety and security that any inmate should be afforded. This is not about asking for special treatment or extra treatment. This is about asking and demanding humane treatment. That's it. That's it. We're not looking for a canopy bed here. Just treat her like a human being. In the midst of her beating, Eyricka was referred to as a man, as a faggot, which is a word that I abhor using, but for the sake of impact and veracity, that's what she was told. By guards. By guards. Experiencing harassment by other inmates is awful, but we're talking about people who are abusing positions of authority purely rooted in this trans body. This was done for no other reason than the fact that she is a trans woman who has undergone chemical and surgical enhancement to further affirm her womanhood in an environment surrounded by cisgender men. That's it. That's it, and that's all. This would not have happened had she been a cis woman. This would not have happened had she been a cis man. This was specifically and totally about pissed off guards having to deal with a trans woman who had the audacity to say, no, I don't want to have sex with this inmate. In any other permutation of events, when a woman stands up for herself and says, no, I choose not to have sex with you, and no, I choose not to be raped, we applaud this woman. But Eyricka ends up with a ruptured breast implant for saying no. There will be a link to the change.org petition. The last time I looked at it, it's received over 1,200 signatures. And again, Isis King, Janet Mock, Laverne Cox, Selenis Leva, the amount of attention that this has garnered in just 24 hours should give you some perspective on the gravity of this situation. I urge you, I implore you, I beg of you to sign this petition. And when you see this petition, you will see phone numbers listed of the Franklin County Correctional Facility, of an agency in Albany. I believe it's a Department of Investigations. There will be a number of phone numbers that you can call. And these numbers have received, and I'm so grateful to be able to say this, thousands of phone calls in just 24 hours. To the extent that it's grassroots networking has been the catalyst for the investigation that has been launched into this issue, and is the only reason that Eyricka was able to see a doctor today. The only reason. So again, I beg of you to think of this woman as if she were me. And if you love me, if you even like me a little, if you're mildly amused by the stuff that comes out of my mouth, you will sign, you will share, and you will do what you can. I'm not asking the world to jump on a platform, but the simplest retweet can make all the difference. The simplest signature can make all the difference. Your voice matters. And if I never needed a clearer example of that in my life, I've received it today. Because the firestorm that has been unleashed is truly, truly monumental. And the one thing I can think of in the midst of considering this context is that it is grassroots advocacy and activism that was the catalyst for George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin's murderer, being arrested and tried. It was the people who made that happen. And we can make this happen. We can get Eyricka somewhere safe. So again, I urge you and beg you to sign, to share, to do whatever you feel on your spirit to make sure that this life counts and that this young lady knows that she is not disposable, that she matters. Please. Thank you for being with me, and wherever you go, please take my love with you. If you feel compelled to tweet or post or anything, I ask that you use the hashtag Justice for Eyricka. The spelling is the same as in the title of this video. And let's make this happen, y'all. As always, and forever, one love.